The goal out of like this conversation today, get you comfortable enough to being able to use Jarvis, at least this recipe, to plug in and like make your own Twitter threads with this type of formula. Let's create this kind of template based on like the type of Twitter threads that you want to make based on these ones that are already proven to do well. Like, all right, Sachit, you've got ideas here. What do you want to make a viral tweet about right now? Let's dive in right now and like make one on the spot. So we do it. So you put this together. What do you want to write a viral tweet about?
So the one, if you want to open the thing that I sent you, the doc, I think the format that I've seen work really well is the sort of like life advice thing. The ones that I know have done well is like that one from Greg, this one from Nick, like look at like 12,000 likes or like 49,000 likes. So this is one idea. The other is if you just search giving advice, the first two here. So like this one has like 44,000 likes and the next one has like 24,000. So I feel like these two are really good. And I think they're very similar where it's like statement and then like here are 10 things or here are 17 things or whatever. So Dicky actually like broke down his thread and why did well. And he says like every piece of content can fall into 4 buckets: actionable, analytical, aspirational, and anthropological. And he says, and he shows why like that thread that went viral, basically the copy of the, like if you look below it, the copy of this thread covered all 4 buckets: actionable by 10 tips, aspirational by this. So it's like, these are the 4 things. It sounds like that like every thread is hitting.
Yeah.
Like the first tweet is, because that's the most important. So, and now your question was, what do I want to write about, right?
Right. So
I can give you 2 ideas that are actually based on this. If you look at the sort of like life advice things, I want to do something similar, but like not copy their stuff, right? So what I had thought was doing something like the quality of your life depends on the questions that you ask. Here are 33 questions from 33 years around the sun or whatever, or to celebrate my birthday or whatever, that help me think about things, blah, blah, blah. So like, for example, like one example of that is like one guy, Craig Clemens, said, today's my 42nd birthday. Here are 42 things I've learned, business, relationships, and life. So I could be like, the quality of your life depends on the questions you ask. Here are 30 questions around life, business, and whatever. So that's one idea. The other idea is, so similar to like the giving advice ones from Dicky and Blake. So like Blake says, I've audited 500 plus websites over the past 6 years. Here are 17 learnings to help your landing page convert, right? Similar to that, what I would say is I've helped 100 plus creators across distribution, sales, and monetization, helping them. And I'm just like, this will be shortened, I'm sure. But so I've helped 100 plus creators, because I think the qualifier of like a lot of people is important. 100 plus creators across distribution, marketing, and sales, helping create combined millions in revenue and subscribers. Here are 10 mistakes that most creators make, or here are 10 things that I tell each creator, or something along those lines.
Let's run with like these right now, because what I'm thinking is like just relating to like what Dickie Bush is saying here, right? Every piece of content falls into these buckets. So that's great. But 90% of your thread success comes down to the copywriting of your first tweet. And so similar to like the success of the thread is going to be like, what are the topics that you already know? And then how can I'm thinking it's like, if you ask the right questions, you'll get the best answers. It's the same thing with Jarvis, right? Yeah. So what I want to look for here is like, we've got these 2 questions here, but I'm adding these 3 asterisks so that Jarvis isn't going to reference above right here. I'm kind of using this as scratch paper right now, but the formula that we're seeing is write an engaging question, or like an attention grabbing headline, or a fact, right? You need a hook similar to like the first hook that you need to bring people in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put on this app called Voice In. It's a dictation extension that I use. I'm going to turn my volume up so you speak, and I just say exactly what you just told me.
I helped grow Mixergy from 50,000 to 500,000 a year in sponsorships. The same strategies have been used by creators to make millions. Here is how I structure every sponsorship agreement. Here are 17 strategies that help me do it.
Okay. So I'm saying, like, if all you do is put in this, let's see what Jarvis comes up with as far as strategies. This is an article about strategies that help companies, creators, and podcasters increase their sponsorship revenue. Saying write a list of 17 strategies to get sponsors for podcasts. So it's going to start rolling off here. So you can see it's listing off strategies that people use for what it's saying, like show note articles with tips on it, offer audio versions of it. And so now it's like a brainstorming machine where these could all be things that you use, or you just let Jarvis go haywire and say, this is or you just want to have like the most beast of a thread ever and make like 100 of these. And
some of these are actually pretty smart. I'm like I'm looking at one of them. I'm like, podcast competition. I'm like, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, and so this could be like, if you get Jarvis going on a roll like this, you might say like, oh, I could actually repurpose the same exact these things that it's giving me and test out. Article. Right. And so so like, if it's just giving you this kind of content, right? If you have a podcast that you can link people back to these things.
Yeah.
Now, if people like it or retweet it, give that an ebook version.
Is there a way I could take like what I have already written, feed it into Jarvis, and then actually, instead of saying like, here are 17 strategies, the prompt is, here's how I create a sponsorship program step by step. Then it basically takes the article that I fed it and summarizes it to like come up with those things step by step.
So Jarvis isn't going to take an entire article and then just chunk it down completely. Like that would still be something that you need to like kind of filter through yourself.
But I can use like the summarize thing that you were using yesterday to do.
Yeah. So you could put your article in here and have like a 10,000 word article, and you could follow down through it and then just kind of organize and edit and have that be like, have it just like rewrite things and make it make more sense.
Yeah. And these are all freaking dope.
Yeah, like offer a discount for your members, ask sponsors for ads. Like it's simple, but it's like, aha, right?
That we use, but instead of saying like, here are 17 learnings, we use here's step by step on how to create a sponsorship program. Do you think Jarvis will output differently for that, or?
Yeah. So let me do this again. Let's take that same thing. I helped here.
This is so fucking insane. Like this dude, this is so crazy. But instead of now we're saying here's step by step on how I structure a sponsorship program.
Here
is how I structure a sponsor program campaign. Here's how I structure, or here's how I implement a sponsorship campaign step by step.
I'm gonna say write a step by step list on how to implement a podcast sponsorship.
This is actually kind of like step by step what I do, and I just need to fill in then.
Yep.
But so here's a random question, and I don't know if it's even like worth asking, or if it's actually something I should worry about. Does this mean it's copied these steps from someone else that I should be worried about? Like,
no. So Jarvis like has downloaded the internet, but it's not pulling directly. So it's taking the curated information from it and it's piecing together unique content. So you could still go and copy this into like a copyscape or something like that to check for plagiarism. And I mean, it's always recommended to just do a simple plagiarism check before you publish. 99% or something like that of the content it puts out is purely original.
And I actually realized something, which is what I was coming to initially Jarvis with was like, take text I already had and like help me summarize and stuff. But really actually what Jarvis is for is taking ideas that I have in my head that I haven't written and fleshing those out, not stuff I've already written and making that better. Does that make sense? It's like, if I have 10,000 words written about something, Jarvis is in the place to bring it in and like help summarize it and all these things. But if I have like 10 ideas for other articles to write that I haven't like touched at all, Jarvis is the best place to start to get the framework for those and then use the Jarvis stuff to build on that.
Yeah, like it's good, like doing the research before and knowing
Yeah.
what you want to bring to the table, and then having Jarvis accelerate it is definitely, that's how I get the most use out of it. You can edit and do summarizer stuff. And a lot of people do that. You know, it's still like an editing process, and you're still filtering down through stuff, and have Jarvis rewrite it and then, you know, fix it up. But
I could just take whatever like Jarvis spits out.
Is that called Foster, you said?
Yeah, foster.co. So they're funded by YC and stuff. So I could literally like take something that Jarvis outputs and just put it in there, and then get like humans to edit it for me.
That's smart. I like that.
So it's like I just like literally throw an idea in Jarvis, get it to like output stuff, get humans to comment, and then actually put my like creative energy into it.
Is this a paid service?
Yeah, I just signed up for it. If you look at like the questions when I talked about, right?
Yeah.
My process was going to be, I was going to like write that heading, and then I was like going to sit and either like come up with questions, and like I have some in mind that are like questions that I feel like have like helped me change my life.
Mm-hmm.
Or my other part was take the statements that others have in their threads and then turn them into questions.
There we go. Perfect. So here's a list of 15 questions, and it's a statement. So you command Jarvis, and now you've got Jarvis answering that question for you.
These are actually good questions. I'm done. Holy motherfucker. What the hell?
All right, now watch this. So check this out. So you do this, you say, summarize the content above, and say this article is about strategies that help companies, creators, and podcasters increase their sponsorship revenue. Here's 15 questions you should be asked before signing deals, such as the budget, what expectations sponsors are. All right, so you might want to actually take this and then put it at the top of the thread. And so now all of a sudden here's like tweet 1, right? And then here's like your tweet 2, and then here's like tweet 3 all the way the fuck down to tweet. I mean, when you're thinking about it, like this is just the same format that you'd want to start like a blog post with.
Yeah, it is.
So what?
And like these are actually like some of the questions that I ask.
No, so let's see, like right here. What are your expectations here? So now what it's doing right here is that I'm trying to get it to do is to like just show you an example. Like let's say, right, you want to just like, you could brainstorm this and turn this into a fucking book if you wanted to, you know, like this is your idea machine for the next, whatever you want to do. And all I'm doing is clicking Command J.
Can I feed it stuff that I already have, so it like knows my personality and how I think, and then build stuff around that?
It's not going to like download your blog and know your voice from that directly. I don't know if it will have that capability or not anytime soon. But what it has done is it's taken personalities and voices from people that do have a lot of content downloaded on the internet. So like you could give Jarvis the direction that you want this to be in the tone of Tim Ferriss, and it'll have people that had a lot of content out there. Is what? Asking questions?
Is to make it different, or is to ask questions or whatever that are different from any other interview they've done. Here's a step-by-step of how I prepare for each interview. Here's how I prepare. Here's how I research and prepare for every guest, before every interview, for every guest, before every interview, for each guest.
All right. I'm going to start with the first one.
Yep.
This article is about how to research and ask questions for guests on your podcast to be unique and different from anything else they've experienced before.
A mix of, how would you describe Tim's? Actually, if it has Tim, it should be fine. Because Tim's very like analytical, right? So maybe a mix of analytical, compassionate, and energetic.
Some good questions.
So now let's say like if we just do in the style of Oprah, and it's like about being vulnerable and compassionate. You know what's interesting, by the way, what's happening right now? This is actually giving ideas to me for questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where Jarvis is like actually giving me good stuff that I can use. Fucking motherfucking hell.
All right. Okay, dude, it's
There
like
you go.
referencing Zen and stuff now. So let's see where it comes with here. So here's the crazy part with something like this that I found just from my experience. So I'm building out,
insane.
I'm building out a character's hero's journey outline recipe so that you can essentially use like the classic hero's journey as a formula for defining a customer avatar and like going deeper levels to like really picture like a character or someone you're marketing to or writing a book to. And if you write these prompts in right here, and then you go to the content description and go through like that type of formula, you could essentially like give Jarvis your interview character here. Like you could like define yourself here, for example, Sachit, and then inside of 600 characters and essentially interview yourself with the AI referencing like your values and like how you are here. Here's an example. Like answer the question above. And it could start like answering questions like for yourself. Just an interesting thing that I found like inside of this tool.
So let's say you use the tone of voice of Joe Rogan, a mix of fun and lighthearted. So here's why I just said this. I could actually create a thread, which is, here are 17 emotions you can structure your interview around. And for each emotion, I have like 10 questions that they can use. Dude, if people find out I'm using an AI, well, like, are people pissed when you find out that you're using an AI? Like, is anyone worried about that?
Like, there's always like the people that like have concern with it, but I don't see like ours with like the book stuff. People are like, bullshit. Like, there's no way. And then like they see that people actually write books in 7 days and publish them, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is possible, right? But if it's not directed by the human behind it, like the smarter you are with it, and the more you know how to like actually use the tool. Like the thing is this is saving hours of time at the end of the day. Like you could come up with all of this, but you've got writer's block and you've got 1,000,001 other things to do.
Yeah, and some of these questions are really fucking good.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially that's all you need for a Twitter thread, man. Like a statement. You could literally create a decade's worth of Twitter content in these types of threads
over the weekend.
Yeah, over a weekend. Easily.
And the thing is, I have ideas for Twitter threads already, so I can use this to like just generate them.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when like everyone has this? I feel like this is right now what I feel is this is a secret I don't want to tell anyone about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to continue to come down to like who can operate it and leverage it the highest level, right? Like it's here. And so we're definitely on the front wave of it. Putting the time in now to understand how to use it you're going to leverage it to like literally 10 extra content. So you want to turn these into like questions is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. So copy this. Get short. Turn this off. And so then if like the flow that you wanted to do is that, I would just like stop this and then go down here, copy the same exact question. Not wanting something is as good as having it. Do you know what it's like to want something and not have it? Let's do this real quick. Like turn this statement into a list of questions, right? And so now instead of asking for one output, now we're doing the same thing where we can say like, okay, chances of it rolling, like giving me the perfect thing every time is not 100% necessarily, right? But if at the end of the day, if 30% of the content you want from Jarvis can get used, or 50% of it, or whatever the number is, right? You just have someone go in here, like you have the outline, right? Like go ask it this question. Mm-hmm. What is someone else's success? Is someone else's success your failure? And it does this like sign off thing at the end of it too, because it's like, this is all made up. Like this might be a real podcast, that might not be.
Oh, I thought it was like pulling in someone else's content. Got it. This is all made up.
Yeah, it's all made up. And like sometimes they pull from like legit resources, but like the links are all screwed up. Like it and it's not even that article. Like it just like mix and matches stuff. You know, it's like why you always want to fact check when you're coming into something like this. And that's your no, so that's your Twitter thread, right?
Bro, you have no idea what like this is oh, you